Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another East versus West 17 pre-event interview. I'm your host, Ryan Turner, and I have the great privilege and honor of sitting down with John Brzenk, our sport's finest. We have a lot to get to. You are headlining the event on Saturday against Yoshi Kanai. And let's start here. How are you feeling?
Feeling good.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
Confident?
Yeah.
You sound a little shaky there, John.
The confidence starts to go away as you get older and older and older.
Yeah.
So I've done everything that I can at this point in my life to prepare for it. I've known about it for 3-4 months. So, but it's a delicate line to try to figure out exactly how to be best prepared. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no matter how many times you do it.
Yeah.
Once you get closer to that game day, the nerves start kicking in. I want to ask you, when you got the call, presumably from Engen, that you were going to be pulling Yoshi, how did that make you feel? You have such a storied history with Yoshi. I mean, it's cemented in stone in the Pulling John documentary.
Yeah.
What went through your mind when he said Yoshi?
Well, I knew it was going to be a huge challenge. I mean, we didn't know what Yoshi Kanai was up to the last few years. I haven't seen him probably for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Not really involved in any arm wrestling events that I know of. I think he's probably arm wrestled in Japan, but
according to him, he was retired.
When he came out and pulled Todd Hutchins, who I know very well, and is the very top of the top, and gave him that kind of war, when he said, "How about Yoshi?" I said, "Well, how about that's going to be a lot of work." But I was excited to be able to give him another chance.
Yeah, we're all excited. He, I think, shocked everyone, including himself, with his Hutchings match.
Yeah.
He gave me a little insight, and he pretty much had just come out of retirement a few weeks prior. And
wow, that's amazing.
I know, to pick it right back up.
That's really amazing, because I don't know if he even realizes how good Todd Hutchins has become. So, I mean, I don't think he even knows what he accomplished.
Yeah. I mean, Hutchings may be pound for pound one of the strongest ever. So, yeah, he might not be aware if he was retired and totally removed. He may not even realize. But he also said something interesting. He thinks now he might be the strongest he has ever been.
I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt it either. I'm sure you maybe have saw him already. He looks.
I haven't seen him, but I
him.
watched the footage when he pulled Hutchins, and he looks the best shape I've ever seen him. I mean, of course, when I knew him many years ago, he was kind of a light heavyweight at first, but then became a super heavyweight, and now he's back trimmed down to looking lean and mean. So.
Yeah, he's definitely ready. And I want to ask you, you've gone back and forth with him so much. What is it about Yoshi's style that gives you, I don't want to say a hard time, but relatively speaking, a hard time for John Brzenk?
Well, he's real sticky, and I wouldn't classify his move as a king's move, but it's kind of an open hand top roll.
Sure.
He's not blessed with a super big, strong hand, so he can't be super dominant with the hand. But what he's lacking in the hand, he makes up for in the arm and the heart. I mean, he'll if he stops you, you better be thinking of different directions, because it's going to be a long day. And he's got a lot of heart.
It's funny you say he has a lot of heart. I sat down with him, and he was talking about how hard it is to grip up with you, because you have such a big hand. It's hard to get a good bite on him. And he said, I believe his exact quote was, "John has a big thumb, but I have a big heart."
That's a good assessment of him.
You are
assessment
wrong.
Of himself.
Let's talk about your current form. You're coming off a win against Arcona. Prior to that, a loss against Crossy.
Right.
How are you feeling right now? Are you
It's
at your peak
it's
form?
day
How
to
you
day.
feeling?
I mean, I feel like I've done everything that I can possibly do. It's still kind of a work in progress for me. As I've gotten older, I've had to adjust a lot of the things that I used to do when I was younger.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to go full bore, with Robert and the guys from Utah, and the harder I worked, the stronger I got and the more gains I got. As I've gotten older, I've got to be careful. I got to be a little, there's a fine line, that delicate line of overdoing it and then going the wrong direction. So I've had to adjust my arm wrestling. I can't arm wrestle nearly as much as I used to, just because my shoulder, as I've gotten older, the arthritis, if it flares up, then it doesn't matter how great a shape I'm in, I'm not effective. So I've kind of toned the arm wrestling back and done a little more just hand and wrist, and just try to stay healthy.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Famously, you really didn't weight train much, right, throughout your career.
I didn't. Yeah. So it's kind of unusual for me to do it. I'm not still in my mind convinced that it's very, it's successful to do that. I've always thought that arm wrestling was the way to be successful. But
would you still tell newcomers into the sport to focus on the pulling?
Focus on the arm wrestling, and I think even if you ask Devin, I'm sure he works out a ton, but he's got such a huge group now, a support group of arm wrestlers that. I think even he would tell most people that that's really kind of the key. It's yes, it's a strength sport, but it's also kind of a fight sport. So you got to have a lot of great assortment of different fighters, and there's nothing helps more than just pulling on the arm wrestling table.
I agree, because it's one thing to be strong, but you have to know where
How
and
to be
when.
strong.
Yeah, exactly, because it's such a dynamic, and you know better than anyone, an arm wrestling match can end up anywhere, and you need to be strong wherever.
And just having it in your brain to know the different body types, to know that, okay, I've experienced this type of puller before. I know that he's probably going to be really strong in this area, and I need to try to avoid it and dictate the match in the area that he's weakest. And with weights, you don't ever get that feedback.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're just gonna be heavy, and that's all they got for you. In your last match against Arcona, you, in round one alone, you shot a hook, then you went back outside, and then you flop pressed.
Yeah.
You have so many options. I think that's one of the things that makes you so dangerous, but it also begs the question, how do you plan? Do you have an ace move in mind for each opponent, or do you wait until you grab the hand and make a call?
No, I mean, I wish that match would have went a lot easier. I wish I would have just been dominant and took his hand and able to take him to the side. But I just, you have to adapt in the moment. And that particular match, I'm just trying to survive. So when the one direction faded and I felt like it was gone, I had to change to a different direction, a new set of muscles. Okay. And it took, like you said, it took all three techniques to finally wear his big ass down.
and you did.
Yeah.
And you did. Have you been training your press? You might need it on Saturday.
Yeah, it's tough on my shoulder to train that very much without aggravating it. But hopefully, if I'm injury free and the inflammation is not that bad, I know how to do it. I mean, my brain will take over and just
hopefully
do it.
you don't need it, but it's there if it comes to it.
It's there if I have to.
You'll throw it out.
Resort to it.
Yeah, you finished a lot of moves that way. Would you say?
I wouldn't consider myself a shoulder roller though. It's something that I don't ever like to do. It's my final desperation move, so to speak.
Sure.
So it's not something I go do right off.
Okay, it's never you never preparing for a match.
Never
I'm gonna press this dude.
No, that's the end game.
Yeah. Okay.
If I'm doing that, then it's everything's.
Okay, if you see John press, it means he had to against his will. I gotcha. Curious how you consider this match. Are you the underdog in your mind?
I feel like I am, yeah,
really?
For sure. Especially if we take in consideration how well I did against Todd Hutchins and then how well he did against Todd Hutchins. I just feel like, he's probably got a little bit of an advantage on me. I need to get the match over with quick. I need to be aggressive. I love to arm wrestle and drag things on, make it exciting and fun. But with this situation, if I do that in the least little bit, I'm going to be doomed with a loss. So.
The guy like Yoshi,
Yoshi. I can't play around with the guy. I messed, back when I was younger and in a lot better shape, I made that mistake and he ended up beating me, and I had to come back and beat him twice to win the thing. But I know he's very, very dangerous, and he's got incredible endurance.
Speaking of your past matches, could you walk myself and the audience through your history with Yoshi? You go way back, so we'll test your memory here.
Let's see. So I think probably the first time I pulled him was when the Pulling John crew was around. We went to Japan and we pulled a super match. And that's probably the most famous one. Then I think it was in Los Angeles. They came out and did like a little round robin, or I don't remember exactly how the format was.
Yep.
But we ended up being the final two in the match. So I don't think that was a super match, but I think we had like a eight man thing that came down to Yoshi and I. And then I went out to Japan with Travis Bajent. I'm guessing the year maybe 2014-15 in Japan, and I beat him. Here again, not a super match. It was only 2 matches, him and his brother.
Right.
And then I ended up wrestling Travis for the finals.
Yeah.
So that was the 3rd time, and then the last time that I was in Japan, we had a super match. And it wasn't real super serious. I think it was best of 3, or
Okay.
so he had to beat me twice, and he did.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was glad for that, because I was completely wore out. And yeah, I think we've met 4 times.
Okay.
So.
And so he did get the last win on
He got
you.
the last win on me.
But there's some context there. So
Yeah, no, I suspect he's going to be in better shape than he was then, and I'm not sure I'm in much better shape. So, but I'm going to definitely put a little more effort into this go around than I did that last one.
Looking forward to it. How would you say your current form is compared to your peak? I know you like to say your peak was actually early 20s.
A lot of stuff is still intact.
Yeah.
I mean, I get little aches and pains in my fingers, my hand. I got a small case of arthritis. Elbows are really solid. Upper arm I feel like is still pretty strong, injury free.
Yep.
It's my shoulder, and because of my shoulder, it doesn't allow me to arm wrestle as aggressively as I normally would as I was younger. So everything kind of falls off, because it was my go-to for building strength. So I've kind of had to tone that back. So, but yeah, and for whatever reason, I'm assuming it's probably age. Well, and the fact that I don't do any cardio. I have a hard time going upstairs now without getting out of breath. And I'm hoping it's an age thing. But yeah, I'm obviously not in the kind of condition that I was in my 30s and 40s. So or even 50s for that matter.
Mostly just because of the mileage, but
yeah, it's catching up.
Okay, fair enough. One thing we're doing different this event is every match is going to start in a ref script.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Well, happy to let
All
you
right.
know.
That may help or hurt. Yeah, no.
Yeah. That was my next question.
I'm assuming my match with Yoshi will probably. My hand isn't as dominant enough as it used to be able to go forward and try to control the match. So I'm assuming the match was probably going to end up in the straps with Yoshi. Yeah, no, a set grip is fine. It helps speed things along, right? You don't have to be fighting.
That's part of it. You mentioned that this match is almost certainly going to a strap. I agree. Does that help John? Does that hurt John? Tell me how the strap changes things for you.
I don't think it hurts me. I think it probably helps his move. I think, it will probably help him. The key to this match will be whether or not I can apply enough side pressure to get rid of him before he sticks it with that outside move. I think my hand and wrist will be strong enough to bring it close to the pad and somewhat control. But if it sticks there, it won't take long before he bleeds that out of me.
Yep.
So,
any chance we see you just shoot a hook right off the start?
Ooh. Yeah, my hook isn't that great anymore because of my shoulder.
Yeah.
The shoulder strength really is keeping that elbow tight to the torso, and hook is a little more difficult than staying outside and doing that.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like my match with Yoshi needs to be somewhat more like a Dave Chafee move or a John Walker move, a little bit more side, but I want to commit a little bit with a hook, but I don't want to actually let it fall into a wrist to wrist, because I just don't have the stability for that.
Okay. You've set yourself apart from the pack in so many different ways. You're considered the greatest of all time in arm wrestling. And so I have to ask, what is it that sets you apart? What is the trick to being so successful in this sport?
Consistency. I mean, and being around the right people. I mean, I was lucky to start at 12, 13 years old because of my dad. And the kids in junior high school. For roll call, we'd gather around tables such as like this and arm wrestle for the 15, 20 minutes for roll call. I mean, I did it every single day. So just growing up and being able to develop as a man, arm wrestling, I think played a big factor. I mean, most guys don't start arm wrestling or take it, even think about taking it seriously until they're, at an older age. And I think that growth hormones and stuff as a kid really plays a huge factor in developing into something weird.
Yeah.
So
Start them young. You heard.
Right.
Awesome. If you could take me inside your mind on game day. Visually, at least to us spectators, you always seem so calm and composed. Inside, is it the same, or do you just hide it really well?
Because I've tested different theories. I've tried to get amped up and more adrenaline going, and normally I end up just burning myself out, or then making even rash, bad decisions on the table. So if I kind of can go in calmly and treat it like a practice, and and just be alert and aware. Of course, you want to be aggressive, but I don't want to be overly fake aggressive. I try to keep it under control.
Okay, keep your wits about you, and yeah, I respect it. You've been a source of inspiration for so many people, myself included. So I think I speak on behalf of every arm wrestler in the world when I say thank you for everything you've done for
No, I appreciate it. I should say a big thank you to, because this probably is going to be my last arm wrestling match. I'm going in for back surgery in 2 weeks, so I'm having to deal with that as I've gotten older. So I don't know how I'm going to recover from that, if I'm going to be able to twist and do the things that are required to be effective on the arm wrestling table. So I'm super appreciative of the sport and what it's given me, and the fans for the support. It's been a wonderful run.
Yeah, well, I hope we'll see you back on the table. But if not, just know you've given this sport more than we could ever repay. So genuinely, from the bottom of all of our hearts, thank you for everything you've done. I appreciate
that, Ryan.
It means a lot. We wouldn't be here without you. So everyone, you can watch John pull live in a legendary rematch on Saturday. The link is going to be in the description, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe on the video, and you could win yourself a signed strap by John Brzenk. We're giving back to the community in that way. We're going to pick a random commenter. So make sure you engage. Make sure you watch John pull. You don't want to miss this. I'm just going to say that. You do not want to miss this. Like John said, we don't know how many more times we're going to have the privilege of watching John pull. So thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thanks, Ryan.
This was great, and best of luck on
I'm going to need it. I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next one.